Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today the Fnaf collab has gotten revealed. And sadly, the collab is not Fortnite, but in my opinion, I think it's better than Fortnite because Fnaf has collabs with Dead by Daylight. This is very exciting for me. I think this is really cool. I have wanted a Fnaf and Dead by Daylight collab for so long, and now that it's finally happening, just feels really surreal for me. So guys, in this video, I'm going to kind of just create a concept of what to expect when the DLC drops. So from looking at this official image that was posted, you can see Dead by Daylight collaborating with Five Nights at Freddy's, and you can see that at the bottom it says summer 2025, which means that the DLC is going to drop summer of next year, which is a really long time from now. And for anybody wondering why it's next year and not this year, Dead by Daylight has already revealed a roadmap earlier this year for everything that's coming in 2024, so I don't think they have enough room to throw in Fnaf, so they're gonna have to make it next year, and sadly it won't be able to come this year. But from the image in the background, I'm pretty sure this is the image that they usually use when they show teasers for other collabs. I think, I'm not really sure. This could be entirely new, this background with the woods and everything, but yeah, I don't really know. So the rest of this video is going to kind of just be a concept, so let's get straight into it. So with the DLC, it is likely that they would either choose FNAF 1, 3, Security Breach, or the FNAF movie. Those are the four possibilities that I think could come to Dead by Daylight. So DLCs usually consist of one survivor, one killer, or one killer and a survivor, or one killer and two survivors. That's usually how DLCs go in Dead by Daylight, and they usually range around $5 to $20, I think. So if anybody's wondering if there will be two FNAF animatronics as killers, I don't really think that's gonna happen because Dead by Daylight has never ever done a 2-killer DLC, but you don't know, it still is possible that they could add 2 killers in a DLC for the FNAF collab. They could probably do it, but I'm not really sure. So if they are gonna add killers, I think the only possible options would be Freddy, Springtrap, one of the Glamrock animatronics. I'm not really sure who would it be because Security Breach is probably the least scariest FNAF game compared to all the others, and there is the FNAF movie, and it would be, William Afton, the Yellow Rabbit. But if they were gonna choose a character from Security Breach, I think it would be Vanny because she would actually fit pretty well in Dead by Daylight. But again, I don't really think they're gonna choose Vanny because if they're gonna choose FNAF, they're gonna choose an animatronic to represent it because FNAF is known for animatronics, so I feel like they're going to use an animatronic character to represent FNAF. So they're most likely going to use Freddy or Springtrap. So what I am guessing is that they're most likely going to use Springtrap from the FNAF movie. I feel like the FNAF movie would be the best option because they could make a full-on chapter out of it by adding 2 survivors and a killer, because we've never really seen any human protagonists besides Security Breach. But they can't really add Gregory and Cassie because they're kids. For anybody wondering if they will ever add Cassie and Gregory as survivors, that is not going to happen because I think a few years ago there was an interview with one of the Dead by Daylight directors, and they said that they are never going to add kids to the game as survivors and it's only going to be adult characters. So with that information, we're going to immediately rule out Gregory and Cassie from being survivors. So guys, I think that they would go for a FNAF movie approach because it is perfect. For the 2 survivors, they gotta choose Mike and Vanessa, and for the killer, they could choose the Yellow Rabbit, or aka William Afton. So for William's main weapon, I think it will be a knife because that's what he used to murder the 5 children. And it's kind of what William is known for using as his weapon of murder. So I feel like it will be a knife. So guys, I do think they will choose the movie as the best approach for this DLC because they could get 2 survivors and a killer out of it compared to other FNAF games that have been made. So guys, with all of this information, I can say that the 2 survivors would be Mike Schmidt, and then the other one would be Vanessa, but it won't reveal her last name being Afton because it would kind of spoil the FNAF movie for people who haven't watched it yet. So I feel like her name will just stay as Vanessa, and then the killer would probably be called the Yellow Rabbit as a reference to Springtrap. Also, that's what Springtrap is usually referred to as in the movie, or William Afton. That's usually how they refer to him. He keeps getting referred to as the Yellow Rabbit. And also, if you guys didn't know this, the killers in Dead by Daylight all start with the and it's usually 1 or 2 words to describe the character. For example, the main killer of the game, the Trapper, his name is just the Trapper, and then there's other killers like the Wraith, the Hillbilly, the Nurse, like those kinds of characters. But some killers in the game do have 2 words in their name, like the Skull Merchant and the Good Guy. I'm not gonna really go into perks for this video because I feel like if I decided to explain like perks and make perks up for all of the characters, I feel like this video would end up being way too long. So I'm gonna kind of just give an idea of what these perks could be. So the perks in Dead by Daylight, whenever they do licensed chapters for killers and survivors, the perks are usually referring to like things that the characters have done or things that have happened in the franchise that relate to the character. And that's usually how it goes for perks, and they kind of just create an ability off of it. And that's basically how it goes for most of the DLC characters. So I feel like they will try to find a way to incorporate it with the FNAF characters. So Mike, Vanessa, and Afton could all have a perk relating to something that they have done in the movie or something that references to what they can do. Also guys, another very big thing to point out, Dead by Daylight usually does collabs with horror movies. They don't really do video game collabs. The only times they've done video game collabs was with Silent Hill, Resident Evil, and Tomb Raider. Those are the only video game collabs that are in Dead by Daylight as of now, I think. If there's any others, I can't really think of it right now, but those are the only ones that I think are in the game as of now. So for William Afton's power, I feel like he could stuff you in spring lock suits, like stuff the survivors inside of suits, and you have to do something to try to escape them, and if you don't, you die. But it sounds a little too similar to the pig's power, so they might have to find a way to rework that into something original. And another power is he could probably have the main 4 animatronics, like all spread out across the map, kind of just being controlled by AIs, and you can manipulate those AIs into helping you get the survivors. Because that would be like a really good idea, because that's kind of what William Afton does in the movie with the animatronics. Dead by Daylight has already done something like this for the killer and the Nemesis. He has 2 zombies that wander around the map and they attack survivors that they see. And they're completely controlled by AIs, but you cannot manipulate them. So I feel like it would be cool if William Afton could do that with the animatronics. For skins, I feel like the perfect skin for William Afton could probably be a Springtrap skin. Like, I feel like his base model would be, you know, the Yellow Rabbit suit that gets shown in the FNAF movie. And then we get like an alternate variant where it's Springtrap. A lot of other characters in Dead by Daylight have this. A lot of killers do have variants, and same thing with survivors, where like it changes not only their appearance but as well as their voice. Speaking of voices, they could add voice lines for the survivors and the killer, because they have already done this in the past with the Resident Evil survivors, and some of the killers in the game do have voice lines, like Wesker and Chucky. So it would be cool to see William Afton having some voice lines, like saying stuff to the survivors as he's attacking them. I think that would be pretty cool. And then for the survivors also having some voice lines, like Mike and Vanessa, like saying stuff towards the other survivors. I feel like that would also be pretty cool. And I feel like it would be perfect if Mike was voiced by Josh Hutcherson, Vanessa is voiced by Elizabeth Lale, and William Afton is voiced by Matthew Lillard. And if they can't get them to voice the characters, they could probably get sound-alikes, and maybe for Springtrap, they could get his video game voice actor, PJ Haywood. Also guys, I'm not gonna really go into add-ons with this video, because again, this video would also be way too long if I made a concept for add-ons, so that could probably all just be like a separate video if I decide to make one. So I'll just give some more ideas. So for items for the add-ons, I feel like they could choose stuff like Freddy's top hat, his microphone, you know, like animatronic endoskeleton parts, Scrap Baby's claw. They could maybe even add stuff like Remnant or like children's souls. That would also be a pretty good idea for add-ons. I think you guys get the gist of this, but usually for killers, for their add-ons, it's usually references to things from their franchises. It's usually like references. It doesn't necessarily have to relate to the character. It could relate to something that's from the franchise. Also guys, sometimes when Dead by Daylight does DLCs or chapters, they sometimes add costumes or like cosplays for the main killers and survivors in the game. An example of this would be Resident Evil, because the survivors got like cosplays. They have like the main survivors cosplaying the characters. So here are some of the cosplays that you can see on screen. Another example of survivors and killers cosplaying as other characters from other franchises would be Attack on Titan. But this cosplay thing kind of only applies to survivors, not killers. So with this info, I feel like the main 4 animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, could be cosplayed by the survivors in the game. And I also think characters like Vanny could be cosplayed by other killers that are in the game, or it could just be an alternate costume for Springtrap, or maybe even a cosplay by one of the survivors. Now for maps, I feel like the most obvious choice would be the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. I think that's the most obvious choice, but I think they could also go for maybe like Fazbear's Frights. So for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, I feel like it'd probably be like the FNAF 1 location, the FNAF 2 location, it could be the Pizzeria Simulator, or it could be the FNAF Movie Pizzeria. Or it could just be a hybrid of multiple pizzerias that have appeared throughout the franchise and just make one gigantic pizzeria out of it. That is also another possibility. And I also do feel like they will change the designs of the hooks that are scattered across the map. If you guys didn't already know this, in Dead by Daylight, some of the maps usually change the designs of the hooks. So I feel like for the FNAF map, they could probably do like, the hook could probably be made out of endoskeleton parts. I feel like that would be pretty cool. And now, it's time for the chase music. So if you guys didn't know this, Dead by Daylight usually creates new music for every single killer that gets added to the game. So for Springtrap, I feel like they might choose something that relates to the FNAF music box or something similar to that. And Dead by Daylight also has this thing called a terror radius, where the farther you are away from the killer, the difference in music tone and volume. So if you were far away from the killer, your heartbeat would be moving really slowly and you would be hearing like the music at a very calm pace. Compared to as if you were next to the killer, your heartbeat would be racing and the music would be really loud and really like at a high tone. So FNAF has never really actually had any chase themes throughout the games. The only actual chase theme would be DJ Music Man's boss fight, but it doesn't really fit with the theme of Springtrap or Dead by Daylight. So I feel like the most obvious choice here would be a music box, where you can hear a music box in the background as you're running away from the killer. So there's like creepy music and you can hear the music box as well. And another idea could be like the FNAF 2 ambience. You could hear that while you're running away from the killer. There's like so much stuff you can use from FNAF for the chase music. I feel like they can make something like really good out of it. So yeah guys, that's going to be the end of this video. I am currently trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. So I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribe to the channel. So yeah guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.